transition to one of my favorite segments of the week. It's my NFL Week 3 Wise Picks. In Week 2, I went 12-4, so I was happy with my record in Week 2. Let's see how I do this week in Week 3 with my Wise Picks. Let's start off in Tennessee. It's an AFC South battle as the 2-0 Indianapolis Colts are traveling to Tennessee to take on the 0-2 Tennessee Titans. The Colts are favored by 3.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Tennessee. The over-under for this matchup is 43.5 points. Listen, so far, Daniel Jones has been playing at an elite level at the quarterback position. And the Colts, as a football team, have surprised me overall. But I believe that the Colts are similar to the Saints last year. Remember, the Saints got off to like a 2-0 start last year, and Saints fans were thinking, maybe we're going to go to the playoffs. I think the Colts are similar to the Saints. I do not believe in the Colts. I still believe that the Colts are one of the worst teams in the NFL. And because of that, I believe Cam Ward will win his first game in the NFL as a rookie. So I'm rolling with the Titans to beat the Colts at home. I'll go Titans 20, Colts 17. It's a matchup in New England as the 1-1 Pittsburgh Steelers are traveling to New England to take on the 1-1 New England Patriots. The Steelers are favored by 1.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in New England. The over-under for this matchup is 45.5 points. The Steelers, they were impressive in Week 1. They did lose in Week 2 against the Seahawks, but I have not been impressed with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense or their defense. Offensively, they can't run the football. They are allowing Aaron Rodgers to be hit way too many times for my comfort. And defensively, the Steelers, they gave up over 30 points in Weeks 1 and Week 2 as well. Week 1 and Week 2 against the Jets in Week 1 and against the Seahawks in Week 2. The Steelers gave up 30-plus points. So and that's what's funny is the 30-plus points that the Steelers gave up twice, that's more than they gave up 30 points all of last year. Like, they didn't give up 30-plus points more than once last year. And so that's something that the Steelers fans need to be concerned with, for sure. Now, the Patriots, they beat the Dolphins in Week 2. I expected the Patriots to take care of business and beat the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are a mess right now. But I thought Drake May and the Patriots offensively, I thought they played much better in Week 2 than they did Week 1 against the Raiders. So I think this is going to be a very competitive game. But I'm rolling with the Steelers to beat the Patriots in New England. I'll go Steelers 23, Patriots 20. The 0-2 New York Jets are traveling to Tampa to take on Baker Mayfield and the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are favored by 6.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Tampa. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. I'm not going to spend too much time on this game. Baker Mayfield has been playing at an elite level. The Buccaneers are a better offensive football team than the Jets are. And I believe the Buccaneers will take care of business at home against the Jets. I'm going Bucks 28, Jets 17. The 1-1 Las Vegas Raiders are traveling to the nation's capital and taking on the 1-1 Washington Commanders. The Commanders are favored by 3.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Washington. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. Jaden Daniels will be out. He will not play in this game. And so the Commanders, last week against the Packers, they lost 27-18. And I thought their offense got better as the game went along. And then in the second half, they were able to score some points and at least make the score respectable in the end. The Raiders, they lost on Monday night against the Chargers, and Geno Smith was terrible in that game. He had multiple interceptions in that game, and if you are Pete Carroll and the Raiders, you got to keep an eye out on Geno Smith. Geno Smith cannot continue to turn the football over the way that he has so far this season. But I believe this is going to be a very, very competitive game because the Commanders do not have Jaden Daniels. I believe the Raiders have a chance to pull off the upset in the nation's capital. And I'm rolling with the Raiders to beat the Commanders in Washington. I'll go Raiders 27, Commanders 24. But I do believe it's going to be a very, very competitive football game. But I think the Raiders are going to pull off the upset in this one. Raiders 27, Commanders 24. It's an NFC South battle in Carolina as the 1-1 Atlanta Falcons are traveling to Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers. The Falcons are favored by 6.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 43.5 points. I thought the Falcons had a great bounce-back performance last week against the Vikings. Remember, week 1, they lost in the fourth quarter against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the Falcons, they played well last week against the Vikings. They ran the football with B.J. Robinson effectively. And that defense, they got after J.J. McCarthy last week. They really, really did. They got after McCarthy. They had multiple sacks in that game. And I think the Falcons are just overall better than the Panthers are. So I'm rolling with the Falcons to beat the Panthers. On the road, I'll go Falcons 24, Panthers 21. So I do believe it's going to be a very competitive football game. It's an AFC South matchup in Jacksonville as C.J. Stroud and the 0-2 Houston Texans are traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars are favored by 1.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. This is a must-win for the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, they lost week 1 against the Rams 14-9. They lost a heartbreaker in week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-19 on Monday Night Football. And I'm worried about C.J. Stroud. I feel like as great as C.J. Stroud played in his rookie season, it has been downhill ever since. And he had a, quote, sophomore slump last year. And so far this year, the offense for the Texans has not been very good. It has not been very good. And so you don't want to fall to 0-3 and the Jaguars improve to 2-1 and have control of the AFC South if you are the Houston Texans. I like Stroud. I like DeMeco Ryans as their head coach. But I have major concerns for the Houston Texans right now. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they lost last week to Jake Browning and the Bengals 31-27. I was watching that game on the banks. The Bengals, they lost Joe Burrow with the toe injury in that matchup. And somehow the Jaguars lost that game. I still cannot understand how the hell the Jaguars lost last week against the Bengals because Jake Browning had 3 interceptions in that game. Jake Browning had not practiced with the Bengals' number one offense all week because Burrow got all those reps. So Jake Browning, fresh off the bench, came in and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars last week in week 2. It made absolutely no sense to me. And I think Trevor Lawrence has regressed. He has regressed. And there was a stat that I saw. I think Trevor Lawrence has the most interceptions since like last year, the beginning of last season. He's thrown the most interceptions. He's thrown 13 interceptions, I believe. I can look up the stat real quick because he's thrown a bunch of picks. Here it is. Trevor Lawrence, this is the most games with 2 interceptions since 2021. Trevor Lawrence has 13 games where he's thrown 2 interceptions since 2021. That's tied with Josh Allen. That is a list that you do not want to be on. And I said it last week and I'm going to say it again. Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, despite his struggles, Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, and Jordan Love have all surpassed Trevor Lawrence. That's how bad it is right now for Trevor Lawrence. Justin Herbert as well. But I believe this is going to be a very, very competitive football game. I picked the Texans to win the AFC South coming into the season, and I still believe that Stroud is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence, and I believe that DeMeco Ryans is a better coach than Liam Cohen right now. So I'm rolling with the Texans to beat the Jaguars in this AFC South matchup in Jacksonville. I'll go Texans 27, Jags 21. It's a battle of the backup quarterbacks in Minnesota as the 2-0 Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Minnesota to take on the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. The Vikings are favored by 2.5 points. The over-under for this matchup is 42.5 points. I saw a picture that said whichever player between Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson has a better performance in the week 3 matchup between the Bengals and the Vikings, that player will be the best receiver in the NFL. I thought it was pretty funny considering Jamar Chase, he lost Joe Burrow, and Justin Jefferson lost J.J. McCarthy. So this is a matchup between 2 backup quarterbacks in Jake Browning and Carson Wentz. But I believe right now the Vikings have a significantly better head coach than the Bengals have in Zach Taylor. So I believe Kevin O'Connell is a better head coach than Zach Taylor is. And I believe Kevin O'Connell is going to put Carson Wentz in better positions to be successful than Zach Taylor is going to put Jake Browning. So I'm rolling with the Vikings to beat the Bengals at home. I'm going Carson Wentz 21, Jake Browning 20. It's a matchup in Cleveland between the 2-0 Green Bay Packers and the 0-2 Cleveland Browns. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Cleveland. The over-under for this matchup is 41.5 points. I may be at this game in attendance because I want to see my Packers beat up on the Browns, and I want to see Micah Parsons get after Joe Flacco. So your boy may be in attendance at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. But when you look at this matchup, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. The Packers are a better football team than the Browns are. Jordan Love is a significantly better quarterback than Joe Flacco currently is. So I'm rolling with the Packers to beat the Browns in Cleveland at First Energy Stadium. I'll go Packers 24, Browns 10. It's a matchup in the NFC between the 0-2 New Orleans Saints and the 1-1 Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by 7.5 points. It's a 4:05 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 41.5 points. I believe the Saints are rebuilding. They are not a really, really good football team whatsoever. And this year, for Saints fans, it's just about seeing whether or not Tyler Show is going to be your franchise quarterback moving forward. I don't believe Spencer Rattler is the answer at quarterback for the Saints. And I have to see if Kellen Moore can actually coach in the NFL. I know he knows his offense, but can he be an actual good head coach in the NFL? Now, the Seahawks, on the other hand, the Seahawks beat the Steelers in week 2, 31-17. And I thought Kenneth Walker played great. He had over 100 yards rushing against the Steelers. Sam Darnold still threw 2 interceptions in that game. But I thought Smith and Jigba played well for the Seahawks. And I think the Seahawks right now are a better football team than the Saints are. So I'm rolling with the Seahawks to beat the Saints in Seattle. I'll go Seahawks 28, Saints 14. It's an AFC West battle in the Bay as the 2-0 Arizona Cardinals are traveling to take on the 2-0 San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 1 point. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. Man, this is going to be a very competitive football game. I feel like the Cardinals, they have played well so far this season. And I like the way their defense has performed so far this year. And I like Kyler Murray and how he's performed offensively. Obviously, on offense, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. You got Trey McBride as your tight end. Okay? You got Connor in the backfield for the Cardinals. So this is going to be a very competitive game. Mac Jones, I believe, will start for the 49ers. Although Brock Purdy did practice for the 49ers. He was a limited participant. So maybe Brock Purdy starts for the 49ers. But I had higher expectations for the Cardinals coming into the season than I had for the 49ers. And right now, I believe Kyler Murray is playing at a higher level than any of the quarterbacks for the 49ers, and Mac Jones or Brock Purdy for that matter. So I'm rolling with the Cardinals to beat the Niners in the Bay in this NFC West matchup. I'm going Cardinals 20, 49ers 13. The Dallas Cowboys, who are 1-1 on the season, they are traveling to Chicago to take on Caleb Williams in the 0-2 Chicago Bears. The Bears are favored by 1.5 points. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 50.5. The Cowboys, they impressed me week 1 against the Eagles. They lost that game, but it was a great loss for the Cowboys. Now, they followed that up, and they beat the Giants in week 2. I believe the score was like 40-37. And that kicker for the Cowboys, Aubrey, he's the best kicker in pro football. He is the best kicker in pro football because once you cross midfield, he can kick the football at an elite level. And you can literally steal 3 points in a football game. That's how great Aubrey is as a kicker. And I thought Prescott played great against the Giants, but it's the Giants. The Cowboys defensively, they were awful against the Giants in week 2. The Cowboys defensively, they were terrible. They allowed Russell Wilson turned back the clock against that Cowboys defense. Had 37 points, Russell Wilson had over 400 passing yards. Malik Neighbors was going crazy against that Cowboys secondary. So the Cowboys are not an elite football team, and I do not believe the Cowboys will make the playoffs. But the one thing the Cowboys are they are a very entertaining football team. They are a very entertaining football team, and they are going to score points. The Bears, on the other hand, they have been a major disappointment in these first 2 weeks of the season. They got completely blitzed by the Detroit Lions in week 2. And right now, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, they are searching for answers offensively with the Chicago Bears right now. They really are. Now, I know Caleb Williams had 2 touchdown passes against the Lions last week, and they still had over 350 total yards of offense, but it was in garbage time. It was in garbage time. And it is getting late early in the Windy City. And this is a must win for the Chicago Bears. Because if the Bears fall to 0-3, I believe Caleb Williams will be on the hot seat as their quarterback for the rest of the season. For the rest of the season. Because we were told that it was coaching that was the problem with Caleb Williams. That's what we were told coming into the season. And we were told that Ben Johnson was going to fix Caleb Williams. And so far, that has not been the case. But with that being said, I believe that Dak Prescott is playing better at the quarterback position than Caleb Williams currently is. I believe the Cowboys offensively, they are a better football team than the Bears are right now. And I just think the Cowboys, as an overall offense, they are going to be able to score points against this Bears defense. So I'm rolling with the Cowboys to beat the Bears. I'll go Dak Prescott, 27, Caleb Williams, 24. It's a matchup in New York between the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs and the 0-2 New York Giants. The Chiefs are favored by 6.5 points. It's an 8:20 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 45.5 points. Listen, the Chiefs are a better football team than the Giants are. I know the Chiefs have struggled offensively because they don't have anyone in their receiver room that can take the top off of a defense. And I think because of that, by midseason, Tyreek Hill will be in a Chiefs uniform because the Chiefs need Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Hill needs the Chiefs in the worst way. It's a possibility the Chiefs will get back Xavier Worthy and they're going to get back Rashee Rice around week 7 because he's suspended for the first 6 weeks of the season. But the Giants defense just gave up 40 points against the Cowboys last week. So I expect Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to have some success against that Giants defense. Now, the Giants do have a really, really good front four, and maybe they can make this game ugly, but I can't see Patrick Mahomes falling to 0-3 on the season and the Chiefs falling to 0-3 overall as a football team. I believe the Chiefs will win this game and they will dominate the Giants. I'm rolling with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to beat Russell Wilson and the New York Giants. I'll go Chiefs 30, Giants 17. Those are my NFL Week 3 wise picks.